like, what's his name from Supernatural, the old dude who's been in the whole show, had like a line like a mile long for like the entire 3 days. Like it never stopped.
Right.
I can't even remember his name now.
Well, we were next to Malcolm McDowell and
Dee Snider.
And the entire cast of like the new Halloween like franchise.
Right.
And then Barb from Stranger Things was literally sitting like this right here next to me.
Crammed.
And she just had like a zigzag like going whenever she sat down. And we actually did really well. That was in Orlando. Which was great. But we've also been like right in the main floor with like traffic going nuts in where was that one?
Whorehound.
Yeah, Whorehound.
Cincinnati adjacent.
Cincinnati adjacent. Supposed to be in Cincinnati, but it was nowhere near Cincinnati. Actually,
they never are
40 miles from Cincinnati.
Great venue, good show.
Great venue, one of the best shows we've ever done. We also had like the whole cast was there. It wasn't just me and Andre, but we were just right in the muck of the whole thing. So like, and there was like only kind of like us around there. So like the whole place was just crammed with people, and everyone was just walking by, and people would just walk by that didn't know that we were going to be there. So they were, oh hey! But sometimes when you're stuffed in like the celebrity room or whatever, like they're not going to go in there if they don't want to go in there.
Right.
I think it's better to be.
I had one in Wales the second year I did Wales. Or second
Did you do Wales
time.
Comic-Con?
That was my first ever con in 2012. But it was like there were so many lines around me, and they were literally like crisscross that I was just boxed in. And then everyone just stared at me with no line. But I was like, you guys are blocking any chance of anyone seeing that I'm here.
Yeah, I don't like when that happens.
Is there anybody that was in Monster Squad that
I want to be in Mobster Squad next. That's my
that's the remake.
Maybe that's the sequel.
That's the spoof.
Now,
the spoof
now we're
reboot.
Now we're Mobster Squad. We're back in time.
Isn't Ben Affleck directing that? I think we're good, right? I think we're good.
It's actually you're gonna have to replace one of you because you're gonna be portrayed by Casey Affleck.
Right.
It's Ryan. I'm Ryan. I'm Casey. What?
Was there anybody?
Look, and here he is calling me right now. We haven't started the podcast yet. You're already like ready on your cue.
Actually, wait, hang on.
That got like really famous from after.
Yeah, I did. We
and,
were
like,
just late.
was...
What do you want?
Tom Noonan, the guy who played
Crappy?
Frankenstein, is like a really famous actor.
That's because you're AT&T.
He's just like fanboyed out. He's like, oh my god.
I don't know. Well, here we're recording now.
Yeah,
All right. So what are we doing? What's the deal?
Well, I told my friend, my really good friend.
This is a confusing way to start a podcast.
Whatever. This is fine.
Have you ever heard our podcast?
I mean, totally. I've heard all of that.
Whatever. So I told my really good friend.
You haven't even seen the Mobster Squad. You don't know what you're talking about, Lani.
I saw the mob. Wait.
So this is. All right, so I'm introing this podcast. This is one of the guests here. My name's Thomas, and I told my friend that I was coming on this podcast with Andre and Adam, and he geeked out, and so he's like, "Dude, I'm calling you during your podcast," and we started late, but because he wanted to share a special message with you. All right, Chris, you have the floor.
Hi, Chris.
No, dude, my biggest question is this, and a huge fan, and first time caller, long time listener.
Okay.
Thank you.
I would say my only question to Thomas before he told me that you guys were going to be on this show, before he told me you were on the show, was does Wolfman have nards?
Oh, that's the question?
Well, I didn't.
That was the only.
Does Wolfman have nards?
Does Wolfman have nards?
What do you think, Chris? What is your guess?
Wolfman has nards. That's it, man. That's all I got, bro.
Wow, now we're filming you.
I'm filming you, filming me, bro.
Dude, from Chicago, Illinois, I can confirm Wolfman has nards.
And
that's all I got.
And I believe you are correct, sir.
Wolfman does indeed.
God bless.
Wait, can I ask you?
Have nards. Yes.
Yes, we can't wait for your questions.
Thanks for starting off our podcast.
I want to ask him a question.
Oh.
Hi, I'm Lani. So is Dan Monahan a fan as well? Did you guys watch the movie together?
Monahan. Wow.
That's Lani, who used to manage the Plain White Tees. So obviously she knows Tom and Dan.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. Dan Monahan. Holy cow. Good call out. I do know Dan a little bit. I don't know if he knows. And you know what? We should text him and ask him if he knows if Wolfman does indeed have nards. We should text him. I don't.
I believe we confirmed that in the film.
No, well, yes, but we want to know whether or not Dan knows.
Okay, got it.
All right, we're gonna do our podcast now.
Let us
And-
know what Dan says.
Text Dan and text me and let me know.
We'll get back. We'll get back to you.
You know Dan, right?
What?
You know Plain White Cheese, right? You know these guys?
I met Dan and I told him that I knew you and he knows you and we all love each other.
Lanny know that I know Dan.
Because I told her that you know Dan. Shut up! I'm hanging up on you now. I love you.
That's why she asked. There's a whole triangle here.
All right, bye.
I think it's a trapezoid.
Trapezoid.
All right, there you go.
It's a trapper.
The weirdest intro to your podcast ever.
No. I don't think so. Maybe not.
Anyway, I'm
Anyway,
Ryan Lambert.
I'm Andre Gower, and this is what is this?
Squadcast.
Oh, yes, the Squadcast. So we've actually got
Wait,
The
hold on.
Mobster
Wait,
Squadcast?
No, it's
No.
it's Squadcast. Ooh.
Squadcast.
Is it gonna be scary? Because I don't like scary movies.
Yes.
That was about a well, I don't know. We'll
I don't
see.
know.
That's
That door
gonna
is
be
that
We're
door is
actually-
closed
We're
right
actually
now.
podcasting from an escape room.
Wait, so okay.
You didn't know that, but this is actually gonna this turns into an escape room.
I
halfway
love
through.
escape rooms though.
But that's scary.
No, they're not all scary.
No, we're gonna make this.
This
was
is
horrifying.
not the comedy escape room.
Okay, wait. I have a story. So some.
Carrot Top is not in this escape room.
Oh, we like Carrot Top.
I love Carrot
So-
Top. This show's funny as shit.
It is really funny. So there are escape rooms that are like break out of jail. They're not scary. But when we were in Sacramento, why does everyone love
You've
that?
obviously never been in jail for real, Lanny.
No, I haven't. Could you imagine me in jail? So
I can actually. But that's a whole nother. It's a different kind of jail.
So we were in Sacramento, and we started this thing actually in Philadelphia, where because we got John Heater and Ryder Strong to go do the Wizard World escape game with us, and found out that me and Ryder are fans. Found out Ryder had done it like 9 times. John Heater had only done it once, but he got addicted after that one. So then in Sacramento we went. It was Cass.
We went off campus because
We went off campus to like a real one, and it was Cass from.
Cass Anvar he does the voice on Assassin's Creed. He's on
Right.
a couple sci-fi TV
Castle
shows.
and a bunch of other things. John Heater went with us, and it was me and then Cass's assistant, and we tried to.
Samara.
Samara.
She has a name, Lanny.
She does have a name, and I love her. And hi, I doubt she's listening.
No, she's our number 8 subscriber. I know this for a fact.
Okay. So
Out of 10.
she lives in Toronto, in case anyone cares.
Well, it's 8.5 because they're metric up there or something. So I don't know.
And I think a couple other people were supposed to go with us. Brian Krause wanted to go, but he was going golfing at like 4:00 in the morning the next morning.
That's what I would have done.
And a few other things. But so we went, and they had 2 rooms, and they had like a sci-fi room, and they had this like scary room, and I kept saying like, we cannot do the scary room, we cannot do the scary room. So we booked the sci-fi room, and we get there, and then the people there obviously recognized some people in our party, and then really wanted us to do the best room that they had, which was the scary room. And I was like, please don't make me do the scary room. Please don't make me do the scary room.
She got outvoted.
I got outvoted.
So you
By
did do the
everyone.
scary room.
We did the scary room.
And
I promised them, I was like, I'm going to scream. And then when I would scream, they would get annoyed. And I was like, I told you I'm going to
I
scream.
didn't get annoyed at you. I laughed.
let's rewind and figure out what is it about horror that scares you? And first, do we want to introduce
I was about to say,
do you want to
let's
introduce yourself?
introduce yourselves.
Introduce yourselves.
Yes, I'm Thomas Nicholas, who commandeered the intro of this podcast.
Excellent.
I'm Lani Sarem, that innocently stood by while he did that. I was not actively involved in the...
You actually took it on more of a tangent by asking my friend if he knew Dan Monahan.
at that
I
point,
brought Chris on to ask him if the Wolfman had nards. Plain and simple. He got really geeked out, when I told him I was coming on the podcast.
Awesome.
At that point, we were already there, though. It was just already happening.
Where does the horror stem from? What happened in your childhood?
The horror of the horror.
I have an overactive imagination. I'm a writer, so there's that. But I think truly, the memory that I have is when I was 8, my mother had a friend, and she had the friend had a son, I was like 8. The son was like 17, and him and his girlfriend babysat me while our parents went to go, I don't know, do whatever they did. And we went to the video store, to Blockbuster, and they rented 3 films. They rented a My Little Pony or Something for Me. They rented a Werewolves and Vampire. I don't know, maybe one of the Michael J. Fox.
Was it the Mobster Squad?
It might have been.
Yeah, we were waiting for the next door to just. We just bulldozed right.
It might have been Monster Squad. It might have been. So maybe I have seen it. Maybe I was 8.
No,
and
you
then,
haven't.
And then it was. What year did it come out? How old would I have been?
1987.
I wasn't 8.
You weren't born yet.
65.
No, I was born, but I wasn't 8.
1965.
And then
So wait. I digress. Then, when was I watching you on Kids Incorporated? Then.
Ooh.
wait.
Ooh.
Let me finish
That
telling
was
the
like
story.
3 years
Oh yeah, no, because we're gonna
I-
totally get to the fact
definitely remember
that
that.
Thomas was watching Kids Inc. I want that story.
I did watch Kids Incorporated, by the way. Okay, so but back to my story. So
By all means.
you asked me a question. I
didn't,
You don't
you
want
did.
the answer.
Yes.
So we watched the My Little Pony, and then they're like, "Okay, time to go to bed." And I begged to stay up, and his girlfriend was like, "Oh, I'll let her stay up." So we watched the Vampires and Werewolves movie, and that was fine. And then I begged to stay up to watch the 3rd movie. The 3rd movie was Chucky, and that was not the film.
The first one.
The first one.
Yeah, that was not the film that you let an 8-year-old child watch. And I remember at some point going and screaming from the room into the other room, under the bed, and just screamed until my mother came home. So
I never liked Chucky either. He was a little creepy.
But after that, I mean, as a teenager, I always had boyfriends that tried to make me go watch them, and I did a couple times, and I had nightmares for weeks, and then at some point I was like, this is not my way to have fun. So I'll skydive, I'll bungee jump, I'll scuba dive. You want to throw me out of a plane? Let's go.
Have
But-
you've
So
skydived?
actual horror that will actually kill you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no,
She's fine.
I've
Totally.
skydived more than once. Yeah, no, I'm totally fine with
I've gone
any
once.
of these
Loved
things.
it.
I mean, to be fair, I have nightmares.
Skydove?
I have nightmares.
Skydove.
I skydived.
Skydove.
There's no
Skydove.
skydove. There's no such thing.
If you
I have
skydove, you're dead.
If you're skydove, that means your chute didn't open.
You doved, and that's it. You're-
To be fair, I
Ah,
also
shoot.
have nightmares about Brad Dourif, but that's for vastly different reasons.
Who is that?
The guy who he's the voice of Chucky, and he's
Oh.
the guy who gets turned into Chucky.
Oh, okay. I get scared of the haunted house ride at Disneyland. But what happens is now I close my eyes, and what I imagine in my head is far worse than probably is what even happening on the screen. But I can watch like Dexter. I love Dexter, and so it's not like gore or anything. It's like the.
You like actual horror, like things that actually happen in the real world.
Well, no, I don't want to
That
be.
you're okay with that.
I don't want to be murdered.
Well,
but
not
I'm
that you want to be
afraid-
murdered, but Dexter happens.
But
No,
see,
no.
That
So,
is
so
the
here's
thing
the
that
thing.
actually happens.
You don't
Chucky doesn't
mind
happen.
horror. You are actually scared of fantasy horror.
Yes.
Well,
That's
Specifically.
exactly what I'm getting.
There were. I just don't like things that can. You can control a person. Like if somebody's a murderer, they can find them. They can lock them up. If that person can then disappear out of the jail.
Or did you also have nightmares after watching Ted? I mean, is it just like talking,
Talking toys coming alive.
Oh no! I had a Teddy Ruxpin.
Did you just bring up Talking Tina again?
I said talking toys, but talking Tina.
No,
for sure.
that's banned from this podcast.
I know.
Remember, because I
Yes.
don't like Talking
I know.
Tina.
I had a Teddy Ruxpin.
My name's Talking Tina, and I don't like you.
Oh boy, I don't like Talking Tina.
When do I know that? What is that?
Telly-
Oh, Twilight Zone.
Zone.
Twi-
Telly
oh,
Savalas.
yeah.
Telly
Okay,
Savalas.
She's the doll, and you pull her.
I've definitely seen all the Twilight Zones.
And
so
I'm
I was
going
like,
to
wow, I know.
kill you. Yeah, no, you're not. You're going in the trash.
Let's really quick. Let's just go start from the beginning, not like
When you
the
were
beginning
born.
of time or when you were born, but let's start at the beginning of your acting career.
Oh, yeah, I thought we were going to go back to like
Where-
1984 to like Kids Inc.
No.
We are.
That's the
Okay.
beginning of my acting career.
Oh,
we
we
don't have
are.
to go there yet.
Well, he was 6, so you can't.
In 1984?
No, you were 6 when
That's
you
not very
started
good.
acting.
That's not very
Yes,
good math.
let's start there.
Yes.
Born in 1980, so I was
I'm
6 in 1986.
We love.
I'm talking about. He said, "Let's go back to the beginning of your acting
What was the
career."
first thing that you did?
The first thing that I usually talk about is something that you would know, which was my job on Who's the Boss.
Right.
I play a young Tony Danza
Okay.
on the 100th episode. And
Okay, so we have something in common there.
You also played Tony Danza?
I did not.
He used to date Tony Danza.
I was.
You were on the 100th episode.
No. It's we can off off mic, we'll talk about my Who's the Boss experience.
Okay.
But yes, I
Did
was
Tony
there.
Danza beat you in a closet?
He wanted to.
Tony Danza showed him who's the
He
boss.
really wanted. Yes, he wanted to beat me in a closet for sure.
Yeah, he actually he played his own grandfather on the episode. So
Right.
3 hours
So-
of latex makeup
For him,
and we
and you
shot
played-
it the night
So
before
that was your
the
first
live
like
taping.
kind of big gig.
That was my first big gig. There are a few jobs before that
Right.
that got me. There's the ones that got me interested in even pursuing an acting career. That are some low budget Jan Michael Vincent movies where I was an extra.
Yes.
Due to my mom being a casting atmosphere on those jobs and putting herself in the key extra roles, the featured roles.
Is that something
There's-
she had always done before?
Well, she came out to LA when she was 19 to pursue an acting career, and then it didn't work out. She met my dad, they had me, and then when I was 5 or 6, we came down to LA, and she wanted to pursue it again.
So they didn't have you and then me.
I like how you said it didn't work out. They had me.
Pretty much. So that didn't work out either.
I have the same story, by the way. It's all right.
So yeah, she got a job at a casting atmosphere in like low budget films as like a way in the door, and then she would just cast herself in all the featured roles.
Right.
So in this like Jan Michael Vincent movie, she's like 5 roles, like the nurse, the reporter, and the like all over the film.
Yes.
But so there was like a call like on a Sunday night. They needed an altar boy. 6 a.m. woke me up before school. So that's like how I got my start and why I wanted to act. It was all about being on set because that's what I love. Like that, I love that experience, and that's the thing that still keeps me in it. And then when I first started, there was a role on Family Medical Center.
Family.
Ooh,
Medical
we go
Center.
way back.
Yeah. I got bit
Is
by.
that a place?
No, it was a TV show, a real low budget TV show where I was. There was like a multitude of like mini episodes, and I was Danny who got bit by a dog in the face.
Was that a network show? Or like?
No, I think it was like the
Man.
syndicated St.
Yeah.
Elsewhere.
It was like
Okay.
It was like
Like
the PBS.
KTLA.
KTLA.
It was the MathNet of ER world.
Ooh, math.
Somebody look up where that aired.
I don't know.
Find me
It's
a
somewhere.
copy.
My mom, if my mom was here, she would
We will
she would
find
remember.
it.
We actually had fun with that though, because I had this like fake scar on my face, and I remember we were like, no, leave it on, and we got back to like where we had our roommates, and we pretended that something had happened to me, and then we ended up going to like the hospital. Like just had this whole like fun game with our roommates.
So you left the prosthetic scar on
Oh, it was so tiny, but
to
yeah.
fool real people.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
well played. Well played.
Who wouldn't? You have this awesome scar on your face that's not real.
All right. So who's the boss?
Who's the
Who's the
boss?
boss? It was my first job.
Then we roll to something maybe a little bit bigger. Yeah, you did. Was Rookie like the first like major thing that you
first
did?
starring role in a feature. The first feature that I did after that was Radio Flyer.
Oh, okay.
Right.
In 1988. I played like one of the bully kids. There was like near a dozen of us, or a half dozen of us, or something.
A
with
bully
Elijah
kid? That's a
Wood.
lot of bullies. That's a
There was
lot of bullies.
Yeah, there was a lot of bullies.
We only had 2.
Yeah. Kick both their
Are
asses.
you both of them?
No.
No, we were the good guys.
They weren't the mobsters. They were the good guys.
I'm gonna watch this film so that I will know what they represent.
just so you guys all understand, we were talking before we were late for our start time, and it was Lani, I think, was asking them about the Monster Squad, and I think sort of mumbled it and accidentally said Mobster Squad. Maybe she did it, but it sounded like it.
No,
So I've been giving her a hard time for the last
I said Mobster Squad because
You did say it. Okay, I did hear you right.
Because I'm from Las Vegas and that rolls off the tongue easier for me, I guess. Actually, I'm not from Las Vegas either. I live there. I've lived there for 15 years. I'm from Georgia. I need to know where I'm from, probably, at some point. I was born in Florida. I'm from...
Don't. We can delete that. We don't need to admit
There was
that.
some marble mouth going on.
I was trying to say mom...
See, here's the thing.
Monster
We'll just-
Squad.
I knew it was Monster Squad, but I was actually born in Las Vegas.
I was trying to say monster.
That's 2 burns right there.
I
So
know. I was trying to say monster and then accidentally said mobster because they're very similar words.
they are
See-
very similar.
But see, like, so I moved from, my mom grew up in San Jose, so I moved from Vegas to Northern California, and I lived in Santa Cruz,
Ooh, good
which is
fun.
where my memories come from of watching Ewoks and Kids Inc.
Ewoks and
like-
Kids Inc.
Like the Ewok, like TV movies?
No, like
Return of
the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi.
Right.
Like I have this like very distinct memory of sitting in my best friend from kindergarten's house that I would go and like hang out at every day after school, after kindergarten, and I have all these memories of like watching Return of the Jedi and Kids Inc.
Do you have memories of Ryan on Kids Incorporated?
Not particularly. That's why I wanted to know what year, because I don't remember much of it. I just remember like the opening song.
I might have already been gone by the time you were watching.
I also watched it, and the song is mostly what I remembered. I actually, after I figured out
there was like
that you were on it, I had to go back and like watch it, and I probably watched it after you were off of it, but I must not read it because I vaguely remembered your character when I saw him again. I was like, oh yeah, I remember him.
I don't remember anything about the show. I just remember the opening song.
I remember that they were. I remember that they were a band that played. It was kind of like the Max before Saved by the Bell, right? It was kind of like.
It was called The Place.
Kind of. Yes, you're right.
It was called The Palace, but the A burned out, so they just called it. We played it The Place. And then we were a band, and there was a little story throughout the whole thing. Usually ended with a nice moral, and
you guys did a lot of covers, right? It was like
all covers.
Yeah,
it was all covers.
But they actually sang and recorded those songs.
We recorded. Yeah, we sang and recorded. Yeah, it was a grueling. One of those grueling things I've ever gone through.
Did you actually play or no?
We couldn't
and
play.
And Mario Lopez was on it though, right?
Mario Lopez was the drummer. He didn't have any lines. He was just the drummer of the band.
They didn't give.
Yeah, well,
now all he does is
to tell you the truth, he was.
I know.
I mean, not to get into, I don't want to get into it too much because this is for you guys. But like,
I think
there was
There
was five principals, and then there was 5 dancers, and the dancers didn't have any lines, but
They
they would do
vice
like the
principals?
big production. They would do like the big production numbers, and they were the band for us. I played guitar, and like sometimes I played keyboard.
Is this all on like YouTube? Can I like go and watch?
Sure,
Okay,
absolutely.
cool. I'm definitely
Yes, there are
my
full
God.
episodes.
Awesome.
I looked them up.
There's
other
like
day.
crazy websites that like fan-made websites that are just absolutely.
I think you
bonkers.
guys should all get back
I
together.
mean, the most famous
and
person that
play a
came out of
show.
that is Fergie, Stacy.
Okay.
Stacy was with me on the show,
Right.
Well,
and she was like a little tiny, nutty little kid.
a lot of those shows created, like my cousin was on the Mickey Mouse Club.
Yeah.
And besides him, Justin Timberlake was on it. Britney Spears was on it.
Yeah.
Christina Aguilera was on it. And there's Carrie Russell. Like there was a few, like
No, a lot of people came out of the Disney, the
Yeah.
new Mickey Mouse Club.
That was a little bit right after.
Ryan Gosling,
Was he on it?
Right after, Ryan Gosling was on it too. But
who we
right-
love because he's a huge Monster Squad
Does he
fan.
See,
listen
I
to
was
your
always
podcast?
like the
he
bastard
might.
child of Disney until I played Walt Disney. But
See, I
Right,
wanna
because
get
you were going to get to that too.
I wanna
Kenny
get
King
into
Arthur's
that.
Court was purchased by Disney after Trimark produced it.
No, was
So we
that
were
actually,
never a
like-
Disney film.
So I kind of remember seeing that. I think I was a little too old to
And
see
then-
that.
And then
when that
playing
came
Walt
out.
Disney was also an independent, not produced by
Not-
Disney.
not produced.
So I have very close ties to Disney, but
Right.
never actually been a Disney.
Well,
You
Kids
were
Incorporated-
Disney adjacent.
Kids Incorporated
Yes,
was
you
on
were
the Disney
Disney.
Channel.
there you
So
go.
we were on syndicated. We were
That I
like
remember.
by like KTLA and like all those stations, and then the Disney Channel bought us. So they tried to put when we were doing promos, they tried to put the fucking ears on us, and I, being a little fucking shithead, was like, I'm not wearing the fucking ears. And they're like, why? I'm like, because we're not the fucking Mickey Mouse Club, man. And they're like, that's a whole nother show. And they're like, yeah, but you're on Disney now. You're
So
promoting
how
Disney.
old were you?
I was 13,
Okay.
14.
Were you actually saying like, I'm not putting on the fucking ears?
I didn't know if I said fuck, but I said I'm not.
You sound like a
putting on
pretty badass
No, it was
13-year-old
pretty,
right
like,
now.
well,
or delinquent.
My character was a badass on the
Okay,
show.
fair enough.
And a delinquent.
Did you have to beg? The episode I watched. So I watched 2 episodes the other day.
Uh-oh.
And the episode I watched was the one where you got like you had to beg everyone to be in the band.
Oh, that was my first episode.
Yeah.
No, I didn't beg. Like I was like.
No,
I was
you
like,
did. You
no,
had
I was
to beg
standing
the
out.
little kid.
No,
There was like a little.
I
kid.
was standing outside. That I wanted to be in the band, but they didn't know I really wanted. They wanted me to be in the band. And I was like, no, that's.
No,
Screw that shit.
No, the one
and
kid
then they
was
were
I
like,
love how
"Please," and I was like,
I love how
okay.
like adult you it tells the stories of like a swearing, like younger version of you.
On a
First of all,
syndicated
everybody,
TV show.
everybody that's
On a
listening
show
to this
owned by-
podcast right now is going to write in and be like, Lady doesn't know what she's talking about. Like, there's going to be a
No, I
million
didn't.
comments.
I
on it.
just watched it.
Hopefully you write in how he didn't swear on Kids Inc. There was no swearing.
Oh,
The-
no, we would
That
never.
came later.
Never.
The younger boy, the only other boy that was in the band when you joined it,
The
was
kid.
like, the kid. That's a terrible name.
Rasan.
And he was like, I don't know if I'm gonna let you audition, and then you had to talk him into it, and then all the girls showed up, and they were like, did the kid say you could audition? And you were like, yeah, and he's like, I guess so.
Wow,
And you had to talk him into it.
She just YouTubed your ass right there is what that is.
So
I might have to
my
go back and
friend,
watch that episode.
my friend that asked you about the Wolfman having nards,
Chris.
he sent me a text. He said, "Sorry if that was weird. Not sure I know what that was." And I told him,
He knows
"All good,
exactly
it was
what
awesome."
he knows exactly what
great.
that was.
It's great.
And he doesn't realize that I took a picture of his FaceTime
Yes.
that's going on our site during the podcast.
Yeah.
So he's going to get surprised on that one.
All right, let's go back to
You.
King Arthur's Court.
Yes.
Okay, was that before Rookie or after Rookie?
After.
Okay, that was after.
That was them capitalizing on the baseball uniform by.
I was
putting
gonna
me in a
say
baseball
because it's
uniform.
both
Right.
both baseball.
That's
related.
called producer genius, where they audition me for it, and then I get the role, and they go, "Oh, by the way, we had you in mind the entire time. That's why you're in a baseball uniform, but we got you for a cheaper price. Congratulations."
But
Did
so
that have
you
anything
were,
to do with Mark Twain at all? Like, was that like a Mark Twain
Well,
reference?
the original first was Bing Crosby, right? Connecticut
Right.
Yankee and King Arthur's Court.
Right. So
That's the original
Absolutely.
like movie on
Version
Mark
of that.
Twain.
I just think it's funny that you played on the Knights baseball team, and then years later, that Disney made another like a time travel King Arthur, and the Greg Sulkin, who also was at Wizard World with us, he was in that one, and he was also on the team the Knights. And
Oh, so we're
why are you staring
wow,
at me
you're
like
we're
this?
Because
really
I'm just
we're
wondering,
reaching.
like, you're just like going for some detail stuff. Like you said this to me once before, and I
I just
Is
thought
that
that
meta or
that's
the opposite of meta? What's going on?
it's so not. I guess
it's
so-
definitely metadata of films for
No,
sure.
it's just like
Meta
so.
adjacent.
It's like
Do you know the ISRC code of that?
no, but it's like it's a kid in King Arthur's court. It's like King Arthur, so they made you the knights, and I bet both times someone in the film process was like, "We're so clever, we're gonna do this," and it was.
That could be. You're right. I'm sure.
I mean, I think they definitely did it for a kid in King Arthur's Court.
they did a sequel. Did you do a sequel to that?
We did.
Like Aladdin or something,
Kid
right?
in Aladdin's Palace.
Yes.
Yes. Straight to VHS.
Straight to VHS.
Yes.
Of course.
Of course,
Nice.
with Rona Mitra. So King Arthur's Court had
Whoa.
Daniel Craig, now 007.
Right.
Never heard
and
of him.
Kate Winslet. Of course, we all know her probably
Right.
the most from playing Rose in Titanic.
Right.
Never saw him.
And then obviously
plenty of
a
room
kid-
on that door.
A kid in Aladdin's Palace was with my love interest was Rona Mitra,
Right.
Wait, so
Okay.
were
who
you?
pulled a Shannon Elizabeth right before the film, or during the middle of the film, actually.
Well, now you have to explain what that means.
Okay, so when we shot American Pie,
Oh, we're going right into American.
No, we're going around to do. She pulled a
going
Shannon
to a
Elizabeth.
story.
Well, yes.
Wait,
Shannon
Oh,
almost
Shannon
got fired because she got some work done before, like after getting the job versus going on set to do the job.
Right.
So this is pulling a Shannon Elizabeth.
Yeah, Rona did that in before reshoots. So we had
shit.
finished the movie.
Oh shit.
Shit.
And then she came back for reshoots,
Oh,
looking,
shit.
you know, like maybe arriving like at least like a
Like-
second earlier.
Upgraded.
Upgraded, yes.
Reshoots upgraded.
Okay.
I
Moment of silence. Old Shannon Elizabeth.
Did you? Were you?
love how Lanny's not phased by
For the
job.
base model Shannon Elizabeth? What are you talking about? Like the not upgraded? The pre-upgrade. Okay.
Did you? Were you the knights in that one?
Oh my God! She's never gonna give up the night.
I think they were the princes.
You know what you're gonna have to do? You're
No,
gonna
I
have to make
would-
a chart. You're gonna have to make a chart, and like you're gonna have to like.
I was-
graph-
It's
I
gonna look
was-
like that wall.
In Kid in Aladdin's Palace, I was the pizza delivery boy, so they referred to me as the deliverer.
But
So
you
I
were
was-
not wearing a base. This had no baseball reference
No,
whatsoever.
because I was a pizza delivery boy.
Okay.
But you know.
But you were the same
You
character.
could have been like.
Well,
the
I was
sheets.
Calvin,
Yeah.
right? But
So
it,
now you were no longer
Calvin Fuller of Reseda.
Right.
I was
You're-
Calvin Fuller, the deliverer.
the deliverer.
Because I said I was the
deliverer.
Yeah, well, because it was like Alibaba and the 40 Thieves
You
sort
could-
of.
They could have put you on a team, and you guys could have been the Sheiks, or like you could have been playing football.
Wasn't wearing a baseball uniform in the sequel, which is maybe why I didn't hit theaters.
There's no team. In the sequel.
There's no team in
There's no
I.
team. There's just pizza.
There is no I in team, but there is in win. That's the best comeback I have.
No, I just said there's
What?
no, there's
There's
no
a-
team in I. So it's better to just malaprop it all the way forward.
I thought you were going to do the normal. There's no I in team, but there is a me. But you didn't. There's an M and an E.
I've never heard that.
You never heard that?
No,
And you're the one talking about team stuff. That's all
Well,
you did.
it seems like in all those movies where somebody goes back in time that they're on some kind of team.
Okay, so you're never allowed to work again unless you're on a team.
Okay, fair enough.
I think there's been
I
laws.
wasn't really
Being
on
on
a team
team.
I
was gonna say, no,
They didn't
hold
go
on.
No, I
back.
mean from now on.
No,
Well,
no, no,
we had a
no.
pact.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
American Pie, to me,
Yeah.
is a team because it's an ensemble cast, really good, solid actors, good cast. Everything just seems to fall into place. Everything was great. It was a huge hit. Tell us, where did that come from? Like, how did that happen? Where did you get involved?
I almost didn't actually,
Okay.
which is sort of the basis of both of my biggest films, American Pie and Rookie of the Year. Rookie of the Year quickly was I had auditioned for it, didn't get a call back, was switching agents. My new agent said, you got a call, you have an audition for Rookie of the Year. I said, I've already gone in on it. And they said, obviously they don't remember you, so go again. So I went again and I got the call back.
Get
they had
out.
auditioned 5,000 kids in LA, New York, Chicago. They'd been searching for a while. Daniel Stern was about to hire his own son, who's also named Henry, who's now I think a senator or something here in California. Of some, I don't know what district it is, but any case, when I did American Pie, I turned down the audition the first time because I read the first scene, which wasn't Jason and the sock and
Right.
the porn. It was Kevin and Vicky giving Kevin instructions on him giving her a hand job. And I was like, trash.
Yeah,
Call
yeah,
my
yeah.
agent, what is this crap? And it's untitled teenage sex comedy that you can make for under $10 million that audiences will love but studios will hate or something like that.
What do you think?
That's a long title.
What do you think that is, though? What resonated with audiences? I mean, because there are.
Well, once I read the whole thing,
to me,
It-
Fast Times at
it
Ridgemont
made
High
sense.
was mine. Fast Times at Ridgemont High was mine.
well, that's what resonated.
By the time
though.
That's
American
what I was
Pie
thinking
came
makes
out,
sense.
but I mean, there was hundreds of them.
No, but it was the timing.
It was it came out something was again.
20 years.
Right.
That was Adam
So this
Burr's
was the
whole
new
thing.
beginning of the new that.
Right.
So
So pretty much we can't do
and it was a
American Pie
well-made film,
5
and everyone was
until
fine.
about 5 years from now.
Right.
It's the 20 year of the first
Of the
one.
first one.
so 5 is
So,
the next one.
yeah, when you get to your 20-year anniversary or something, it's always a fun milestone.
Right.
And your back hurts.
And the reason we were talking about
My back hurts.
Oh, my foot!
we were talking about this earlier today, but the reason that they made more is because it did so well overseas, which was they didn't expect that because it was an American high school comedy about American kids in American high school, and they didn't think that overseas, especially in places that didn't speak English as a first language, that would resonate with them.
Yeah, they basically
it is-
sold the rights. We made the film for $10 million, and then they sold the worldwide rights for $10 million, and they thought, oh, great deal, we made our money back. And then we released it in the States.
We're not fired.
and then it made it $100 million in the theater, and then it got released overseas, and it made $100 million in obviously in every other territory.
Right.
But they were like, oh, that was an oversight. So that's why we made the sequels, because Universal was like, we didn't make that money because we sold the rights for $10 million.
Got it. Did you think that the?
Interesting.
What did you think? What did you think when you were making a sequel? Was it a continuation of the story, or did you think all right, I'm just doing, I'm getting a paycheck?
I think our goal, look, I'm still a fan of the first one first.
How
but
many were there? By the way,
Four,
four, right? Okay.
Well, 4 that I've done, but there's technically 8.
Because they did another
They franchised
generation.
it. Yeah,
generation.
but Eugene Levy's in all of them.
Those still doesn't count.
Oh my God! First of all,
Well-
side note: have you seen Schitt's Creek?
No.
Oh my God, dude!
Oh,
you
yeah,
gotta
Schitt's
watch-
Creek's funny.
It is actually one of the most brilliant.
What? I haven't even heard of it. What is
It's
it?
on
It's
Amazon.
Eugene Levy's
Is it on Amazon?
TV show.
Oh, he has
that
a
he
TV show,
wrote
okay.
with his son, who is a genius.
Oh,
by the way.
I tested up
And
against
I think
his
his
son
daughter's in
at,
it,
for a TV show.
Dan
actually.
Levy.
Dan, yeah, I was up
He's
against Dan for a TV show 2 years ago at Fox for I don't even remember what the show was. Didn't get picked up.
He's so good in this.
Lucky you didn't get it.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, but he's really good in it.
Yeah.
And he kind of like
No,
took
Dan's
over-
awesome.
He
He's
kinda
like
took
a
over the
really
show.
good-looking version of Eugene Levy.
Yeah. No, he's
Got the glasses,
Yeah.
but he's like, you
he's
know,
brilliant.
Yeah.
He's brilliant. And the show
like
is
Eugene Levy's
brilliant.
kind of odd, like nerdy type, but Dan's kind of like, you know, like just like a cooler
Are
version.
you and Dan around the same age?
No, Dan's younger than me for sure. Like
Yeah.
he's in his 20s,
he's
like
a
early
kid.
20s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a kid.
Well, wait. Sorry, I've seen all 4 American Pies, like the ones you ran. The other 4, like nobody
3.
else. Oh, sorry.
There's 3 other ones, but what the
You
benefit?
just said 8.
Yeah, because Reunion was number 8, so we did, or is that right?
No, then that would be 7 films. 4 plus 3 is 7.
Did they do prequels?
Wait, did she just do
Was there 4?
2 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1?
Is
Is
it?
that country
2 plus
song?
2 plus 1 plus 1.
2 1.
Have you,
Wait, no.
you
What-
said you love Carrot Top. While he figures this out, you said you love Carrot Top. My favorite Carrot Top bits are he does these country song bits where like, well, he does things about country songs just in general that are really funny. And one of them is like how country people don't know how to do math, but like rock people do because they do the Beatles like 1 and 1 and 1 or 3. But country songs have like 4 minus 3 is 0 because if you're married and then your wife and your kids leave you.
Then you have nothing.
You're left with nothing.
Yeah, all right. And then there's some other songs where they do math, and 1 plus 1 doesn't always like 1 plus 1 equals 1 or something. There's like all these funny.
So you're a country music fan or not a country music fan?
I'm a country music fan. He hates country music.
Really?
Yeah, I
Wow.
So
That's all right.
when,
You're right. It's only number 7. I don't know why I thought it was.
So
number 8.
Reunion was number 7.
Reunion was number
Okay,
7.
wait, so back to my question. The ones with the other 3, Eugene Levy's the only continuing character.
Yeah, they offered Tara and I a role in Book of Love, but we turned it down because we didn't feel like we knew that Reunion was on the horizon, and we didn't want to mess up whatever John and
Kinda
Hayden had for like the
pop
through line of the characters.
Yeah.
We didn't want to like take a left turn, like because they had Kevin. I don't know. I haven't actually talked to anyone about this, so whoops. But
No one
they
listens
had,
to this anyway,
They
don't
had
worry
Kevin
about it.
like being a teacher at the high school, and I was like, that sounds really sad. And I was like, I don't want to be, like, and they had Tara as well. Like, we were going to be, like, stuck, like, in the high school rut, but, like, no one else is there.
Oh, that
So I
would have
didn't-
been cute.
Yeah.
See, wrong. You made the wrong decision.
Yeah,
No,
well-
no, that was a good call, knowing that was coming
Let's
around.
talk
But the
about-
thing about the DVD ones, I realized this. I was at Bamboozle 2011, the fest that happened in New Jersey, and I was there launching a t-shirt company that's since failed. But I met this
Sorry.
band called Forever the Sickest Kids, and they asked me to come and introduce them and sing a song with them. And I was like, your fans are 14. They're not going to know who the hell I am. So I got up on stage and I told them we were going to shoot American Reunion. They went nuts. And I was like, oh, I get it. They back cataloged because of all of the straight to DVD American
Sure.
Pie becoming like the new National Lampoon. They do like you do with any band. You see it
Right.
enough. You see it enough times. You back
know,
catalog.
right.
You go back to the beginning.
Well, the themes are just,
But they were terrible. We watched one on set.
Oh, really?
And we like made it to like the first like 5 minutes on Jason's iPad, and we're just like,
Sorry.
this is crap.
Sorry, Eugene Levy. If he's
Oh, he doesn't care.
he doesn't
made,
care.
He made so much money on those. I
Yeah.
wish I was Eugene Levy for that.
He's like, I'm Eugene Levy. I love to phone it in and make money. It's good. It's good. I'm fine.
Well, you could have done one with him. And you...
No, they were not offering me Eugene Levy money. this is why I turned it down.
So with American Pie, because obviously, like you mentioned, Ryan, Fast Times, which, and we touched on that. American Pie, the first one,
my first love.
Jennifer Jason Leigh, not Phoebe Cates.
No,
I know the answer to
I
that.
know,
Yes.
Jennifer.
You mean Judd Nelson? I mean John Reinhold. You're
Nelson.
Judge Reinhold.
Hey,
Um,
hey.
That's
Well, okay, for a segue, because I think American Pie kind of melded the innocence but realism of John Hughes type movies.
Who's?
Hughes. That was a
Oh
that
my
was a
God,
beer
you
that was a
just
beer
pulled-
burp right in
just
the middle
pulled
of that.
Laney.
No,
Gordon
I had an excuse. There was a beer burp.
Gordon
right there.
here's a
Marvel
John
Mouth.
Who's.
Wait, Marvel Melt.
I have a question from now on as your podcast continues. When someone says the wrong word, are you going to call it pulling a Lanny?
Yes.
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 See?
Forever.
I know.
Hopefully we don't get Munson in this podcast.
What?
They got the ref.
Yes. Oh.
Like the
No,
Munsters?
not the
No,
end.
no, not that Munsters.
Not that.
Come on.
Oh my God!
Lanny
You
this
just
up.
Laney.
you just pulled a U.
No, I love the Munsters.
pull it yourself.
I misunderstood what he said.
I just said hopefully we don't get Munson in this
Oh,
podcast.
jeez. I thought you...
Not the hand, the ring.
I heard...
But Fast Times was actually a pretty deep. Well, I mean, it dealt with.
It was a deep film for John Hughes.
For Who's. At least it wasn't John Woo's. The slow motion Dove Mission Impossible guy.
I've lost track
You are
of what you're
completely
talking
lost of what's going on. Thomas is right with me.
No.
Thomas is right with me.
I'm
So
just
we're
trying to
making
figure out
American
why
Pie
John-
I think we're
11
talking about
with
John
John Woo.
Hughes has
I
something.
did.
Right, yeah, the killer. Weirdest thing ever.
Oh, we're going there.
Weirdest thing.
Oh, we're
so I'm
going there.
doing
Got it.
press for Rookie of the Year. I'm 13 years old, and I'm at this press junket in New York, and this interviewer comes in, and he hands me a VHS copy of John Woo's The Killer.
Oh, nice.
Like,
So-
you should watch this, dude. It's awesome. I was like,
How old are you again?
Oh,
I was 13. I watched it. It was awesome.
You're like, thanks, dude.
Yeah, but like, I don't know why I just like thought of that. But you mentioned John Woo and
He's like, you should watch this. But
John who?
Be kind and rewind when you give it back to me.
I have a question. Tom gets this a lot because obviously, we hang out because we have a film project together, and people come up to him and say, sometimes they say, "You look exactly the same," and other times they say, "Wow, you look different," and he's like, "I was 12 at the time. Like, I'm clearly older now." Do you guys get that when people recognize you from the Monster
All the time.
Squad?
Ooh, she nails it.
Barely.
All the time. A lot of times. But you
Took a
Do
get
lot of
they,
effort.
do they say you look the same,
Yes.
or do they say...
I get a lot. You haven't changed a bit, and I'm like, there's no way you can see clearly.
I get you've aged very well,
Yes.
is what they say.
what are your responses? Because I have my like,
Kind.
I have my go-to response.
What's your go-to response
Like,
when?
when someone says when someone says to me, "Wow, you look exactly the same," I just laugh and I go, "Ah, bless you. If only that were true."
Yes. Yes. That's a good one. That's a good one.
And then if they say, "Wow, you look different," he says, "Well, that I was 13."
I go,
was
"Yeah, it's
13."
amazing what 24 years will do to you."
That's right.
I'm
Of just
an adult
regular
now.
normal life. It's not even like hard labor.
Right.
In
It's amazing what
French
24
Guiana or
years
something.
of living is a normal.
Yeah, that's what people say. They
Easy.
say like, "Oh, when you were in Kids Incorporated, you had spiky hair," and like, "Oh, what, where did all that go?" And I'm like, that I'm 46 years old now. I was 13 when I started that. I don't know how old you are, but I don't know what you looked like when you were 13, but you kind of look, like
Well,
maybe you're in your
maybe
50s right now.
Maybe they just mean like we didn't pull an Al Pacino. Like Al Pacino Godfather, Al Pacino Dog Day Afternoon. Two different people.
Two different people. The Adventures of Fivehead and Flesh Island.
Oh yeah.
That's our that's our
Balding movie.
that's our like, superhero secret identity characters. I'm Fivehead and he's Flesh Island.
Yeah.
We'll just leave it at that.
Fair enough. That's the equivalent of when are they doing American Pie 5? I said hopefully before it's American Geriatrics.
That's right.
American Pudding.
American Pudding. Well played. I was trying to think of what it was, and that was it.
If you guys are in like the senior home, then you guys could re-meet all over again.
Oh, totally. I can
But
just
then, like,
imagine
Biggs has to, stick it in Jello or something?
Yeah, totally. Or
I
We should
mean-
do a short of the Monster
Or,
Squad.
like-
He would
meets
probably
the
try
cast
to-
of American
He would
Pie.
probably take
Where
Viagra
we're really
and
not
it
doing
wouldn't
anything.
work, and he would try to freeze his dick to get it hard. There's Jason Biggs' character in American Pudding.
And obviously, we're going to talk about more fun stuff, but we'll talk about American Pie a little bit. But did you
you
know
saying
any of
this
them?
isn't fun?
Did you know any of those cats before you did American Pie?
No, I didn't. I know that Jason and Eddie knew each other from before, but I didn't know anyone. And in fact, like I was saying with that one and turning it down and then finally going in, they had apparently offered the role to my buddy that I went to high school with, Andrew Keegan, who only couldn't do it because he was already booked on 10 Things I Hate About You. So the only reason I had a shot was because Andrew Keegan wasn't available.
Well, look, that's acting. That happens
Yeah.
all the time, right?
Totally.
We're honestly like one of a dozen and a half
Well,
that they could just kind of plug in.
my friend Evan auditioned for, was it Rookie of the Year or was it American Pie?
I think he said American Pie.
Right, and
Yeah.
he was like, he was one of the
This is something we just had a meeting about our film project, which, like Lani was saying, which is why we're hanging out at all these Comic-Cons and meeting you guys.
Evan is the president of Adrian Grenière's production company, and he also impersonates Tom Cruise and apparently upset all of New Zealand the other day.
Yeah,
So-
one radio station hired him to punk the other major radio station of New Zealand, but the prank went too far, and the host ended up not crying and
it was the guy's lifelong dream to interview Tom Cruise, and Evan did it so well.
But they didn't pull. They didn't pull in the reins.
It was a phone interview or a
in
person?
phoner.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Evan just impersonates Tom Cruise over the phone, or does he look at?
No.
Has he done shorts as Tom
Yes.
Cruise?
Yes.
Okay, I know him. I think I know who you're talking about. It's phenomenal. Have you seen
Yeah,
these?
he's pretty good.
Oh yeah, we'll list these later. These are good. Yeah.
But yeah, he's so good at impersonating him. Yeah, they wanted someone that really knew how to kind of walk the walk and talk the talk, and he's done it for so long, and he did so well at it. He passed the pre-conversation.
But he told us that they were only supposed to go 2 minutes into the interview, and the other radio station was listening in. They were gonna interrupt and be like, "Ha, got you!" But they just did it, and it just kept going and went for 12 minutes.
Oh.
So they just when you have that joke, you're just trying to punk somebody, and you take it just one step too far. Well, they went 3 steps past that.
They went down the block with that.
Yeah.
And I guess people were tweeting death threats and all this to the other radio station. People were really upset over it. And I actually met up with him the day that all happened, and he was kind of I feel bad. I just got hired to play a joke on someone, but it was this huge deal.
That's all right. That radio guy, the marketing guy for that radio station, was loving every minute.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
death threats.
Sure.
He's
We've done well.
Well, go look now. Over in America, we are talking about these DJs in New Zealand, so they did their job, I guess.
Rad.
So you talk about because obviously after American Pie comes out, it's huge. What was that like?
It was crazy
Because it was a huge. It went boom, and it was kind of iconic in the movie of the time, and
it was the same experience for me during Rookie of the Year, which was I think more mind-boggling at a younger age, because that was I know it seems obviously they didn't become a franchise and it wasn't as much of a world success, but it still was a $50 million box office in 1993.
you can only be a rookie 1 year. That's why you can't be a sequel.
Fair enough. Well, they'd be if the rookie the sequel would have been MVP. Duh.
Called sophomore slump.
But it was the type of thing where it was
They
even
make a sequel out of many.
it was even crazier then, just because of things that would happen. I remember I played in the All-Star game at Dodger Stadium with Lou Ferrigno and a bunch of Tony Danza, your favorite.
He's
your
played
favorite.
in that thing every year,
right?
For 40 years.
Well, no, they've stopped it for about 10. To be fair, they've just now brought it back in. But I remember I was my mom and I were let's go to the game after. So we went to the game, and before I know it, they had to escort us out of the theater because we were surrounded by a crowd of 1,000 people that were just closing in around us. It was like Joe versus the volcano.
Wait, I have a question. So when you did American Pie, though, you had already starred in a big film, and no one else really had any of that success. So were you kind of the celebrity on campus?
No, because they
Nobody
marketed it as an unknown cast, and it took about 7 years before the first person even put 2 and 2 together.
But no, even the actors on the set,
they knew, but they didn't. They don't care.
That's where I was going to go when I asked if you had known them
Shit.
prior, and then you end up being this ensemble cast as a thing. But you had already done something
Right.
that kind of popped.
Well, and to be fair, even though Tara was in one scene, she did Big Lebowski and had her one-liner.
Right.
Good line though.
Are we getting?
Come on.
Are we
What?
getting?
And that wasn't directed at you, Adam. That was Tara's line. in
What
the
did she
movie.
say?
She said she was Bunny in the
That's
Big
right.
Lebowski.
That's right.
Right. The
I love that everyone let's just bypass that.
Beep.
Did you call him Adam or Ryan?
I
Did I
didn't
say
pay attention.
Adam?
Oh,
I did Adam.
Mob,
Lambert.
mobsters now correcting everybody. I love it.
That's right.
I
I
love
did
it.
say Adam, didn't I?
It has come.
I think I've actually been saying Adam the entire time. I think I saw this like.
We'll go back to the videotape and figure it out.
No, I've definitely been saying Adam for sure.
You know, people used to come up to me and say,
I think I even said it to Chris
you
at the
really-
very
are
intro
you-
of the podcast.
they'd say, "Are you related to Adam Lambert?" And I would say, "I am." And they would say, "Oh, cool. Like how?" And I'd say, "He's my mom."
I'm sorry, Ryan.
He's
Thanks
here all week,
for
folks.
correcting me and making me out to be a big jerk in this podcast.
I didn't even notice.
Ryan Lambert, everybody. He's here all week, dark on Mondays. 7 and 9, tip your
The
waiters.
funny thing is, when you texted about him, though, you texted Ryan.
Yeah. I swear, like, I don't know what it was, but there was
It's
some
like when
sort
I
of...
say Mobster Squad.
No,
That was still your original fuck up. That's all you.
I was
Own it.
I was just uploading, and this is why it went in my brain. I was just uploading a concert that I'm playing next week onto my like Songkick page, and it was like I don't know, for some reason I got advertised with an Adam Lambert concert. I was like, why am I getting advertised an Adam Lambert concert? I don't have my.
So we've seen you Googling Adam Lambert. It's all data. It's all data now, Tom. It's all data.
Secretly, you're his #1 fan. It's okay, Tom. You can admit it.
The only time that I
Isn't he
ever,
playing with Queen?
Yes.
the only time that I ever,
It's actually pretty
referenced
good.
Adam Lambert was a writer on a TV show that I sold to Fox about my life and my parents and all that stuff. Was the writer referenced like Adam Lambert in the pitch somehow? And I remember the first time he said it, I was like, I don't even know who that is. I'm sorry.
Well,
And
when people-
I had to. That's why I googled him because I was like, who is he referencing?
Right. When people
Who is he-
started asking me, I was like, I don't know who you're talking about. And they'd be like, oh, he's like on American Idol. I'm like, I don't fucking watch that piece of shit. Like, why would I watch that crap?
Tell us how you really feel about American Idol.
I watched
He doesn't
one season.
watch.
I watched one season.
What season of American Idol did you watch?
It was the season with the guy.
That's because Ryan was on the
One-
original American Idol called Kids Incorporated.
We didn't have to compete. I already got that shit.
No, you did. You had to audition for the other kids.
I actually had the same experience that you did. Like, it was Chicago, New York, they went everywhere. 10,000 kids. Boom. Lambert got it. Anyway, what was the thing? What season did I watch?
And now we're here.
American Idol. American Idol.
They should have taken
Who was the guy that
9,998.
played harmonica?
He deserves it.
The
You know, I
gray-haired
haven't called
guy
him by
who
the
won.
wrong name.
Oh, Taylor.
That's the one I watched.
John Bob.
Oh my God, we can go. We can
Wait.
connect the dots because now that guy
My
beat Homegirl, who's on Scorpion with Homeboy from American Pie.
Thomas, yeah.
Boom.
Yes.
my
we just
really
connected the dots.
good friend was on American. My really good friend was on American Idol the year that Carrie Underwood ran. That
Oh.
was the year that I watched it.
Whoever that was had zero chance because Carrie Underwood smoked it the
Well-
entire time.
Carrie Underwood's pretty good. My friend was pretty good. My friend actually did pretty well in it. And then Simon Cowell, she had never even been in the bottom 3. And then Simon Cowell said that she performed, and he said he wanted to come back reincarnated as her microphone. And the very next week she got bumped off.
Goodbye. Bye.
I'm trying to figure out what that means. Oh.
All right.
So people were like, "Oh, he likes her," and she was so
A different kind of
embarrassed.
Big Lebowski.
Sorry, Amanda.
All right. So I want to get to Walt Disney because, just for reference,
You guys have been trying to get me there for a while.
Just
I
so
keep
you know,
backtracking. I'm sorry.
There's a few things. One is I grew up at Disneyland, like because I lived here, and like when I was a teenager,
'Cause he was on
that's where we
Incorporated.
used to go.
That was later.
That's where we used to go to hang out at night because they had a club called Videopolis, and we used to go and dance there. And somehow it turned into some goth thing. So like we'd go and dance to The Cure and Bauhaus, and like there was a DJ and they played Depeche Mode, and like we would go and dance at night, and then we'd go make out on the Haunted Mansion ride, and then
You
we'd
and
go on the
Andre would go
monorail.
make out.
No, I didn't even know him yet. This was like before that. Like so, this was like when I was in junior high. It was crazy. So I grew up there, and like I loved it. And so when I was a little bit older, I started studying the history of the park, which led me to the history of the man himself, which led me to, everybody from his brother to Works to all the people that he worked with. And then when I found out that there was this thing called, Walt Before Mickey, I have not seen this thing. I don't know where to find it.
It's on Netflix.
Okay, it is on Netflix.
Yeah,
okay.
that's like the main release that we got. 'Cause
You looked real hard, apparently.
It's
because I just found out about this not that long ago.
It was it was independent. So it's based upon the book written by Timothy Sasane, who was friends with Diane Disney Miller.
That's like the main Walt Disney biography.
No, it's the first Walt Disney biography that was ever approved by the Disney family as truth.
Okay.
Because all the other ones, like they told untruths, and Diane Disney Miller would like go on record saying like this is not true, like the whole thing like Walt Disney's frozen, and like in that one, that's the big biography that everyone knows is that other one, which is I can't remember the author's name. I should know, it's a famous author, but this is the first one where Diane Disney Miller wrote the foreword and everything in it. I mean, the book is not really that great. It reads like a bibliography because every time a fact is stated, there's like 10 reasons of how he found it out, and you start like learning the address and history of like that store owner that gave him that receipt of like the supplies that they bought, and it just goes on and on. But it it speaks of how well researched it was. But the Timothy Sasane is not an author. He's an attorney,
right? And
he was friends with Diane Disney Miller. But it's an independent film, and we got it theatrical in AMC.
You want facts.
Well, the book is very factual. We took some creative leave and kind of combined his 5 attempts at animation studios into just laughograms because it got too complex trying to tell all those stories.
Right.
So we got it into AMC Downtown Disney Orlando and AMC Downtown Disney in Anaheim, and it did so well in opening weekend that AMC put it in like 100 theaters, but that was only theaters that we got it into, and then it still didn't really have a release. South American Netflix picked it up, and it got so many millions of downloads that's why the rest of the worldwide Netflix picked it up, and now it's in like 72 languages.
Okay, I gotta watch this thing.
And what year was that?
3 years ago is when we shot it, but it didn't come out until last year. Right. As most independent films take a while to sort of,
it's amazing,
kind of get that groundswell going. And with the film itself, 3 years ago, I got a phone call saying, "Hey, do you want to play Walt Disney?" And I said, "Oh my gosh, that'd be amazing." They said, "Cool, you start next week." So I had 5 days after I got the call, I was on a plane.
So you have no research time at all.
No, I mean all I could do was read the book, and I watched Saving Mr. Banks, which is definitely the Walt Disney that I envisioned, because it's like you hear the name Walt Disney, and I instantly see like Walt in a blue cardigan introducing Winnie the Pooh. Right. That's like the Walt Disney that I first was introduced to.
Sure.
But after watching Tom Hanks, which Tom Hanks I thought was great in it, but in Saving Mr. Banks, I realized I'm like, no, this is 17 to 27, and I'm thinking about myself like I'm in my 30s, and I thought about myself when I was in my early 20s. I'm like, no, I'm such a different person now in my energy and how I carry myself. So all I did was focus on his drive and passion and vision, and just kind of like that higher energy,
right?
And stay true to his morals and things that he stood for. But I didn't try to like sound like the Walt who was 65.
Right.
And our escape game buddy plays your brother.
Yeah.
Disney.
John Heder is
John Heder
Roy,
was your brother,
Roy Disney.
Roy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He apparently played the wrong Roy. Because
he played the wrong.
There's a wrong Roy.
Well, sure, because there's Roy E. Disney and there's Roy O. Disney.
Right.
And so when he got the role, and you can ask John about this next time you see him at Wizard World, he just types in Roy Disney into Wikipedia to like research him, and he's researching Roy O. Disney. Which is the son,
right? Not
Roy E. Disney, the dad, Walt's brother.
So he shows up with like this.
There was like a moment where, because I was like, did
he think he was playing your son?
No, he had some like, there was some moments because, okay, so the film was written, and I'm there on set, and I'm like, I'm a huge Disney fan, but I didn't know all the history of like what he went through and bankruptcy and all this stuff, so.
It's the best story, by the way, of like, if you ever think like, if you're like down and out and you're like, gosh, like I should just give up, like my dream's not going to come true.
No, this is
like,
why
this will inspire you to keep going, because from what that man was almost bankrupt and basically bankrupt.
He was bankrupt officially.
But he was almost.
and lived on the streets for 2
Let
weeks.
me
Yeah.
finish.
No, you said he was almost
But
bankrupt.
he
Don't Lanny this.
No, you didn't let me finish. I didn't Lanny this. I'm saying he was almost bankrupt, and
Don't lay
then
this shit.
and then also bankrupt so many times. Like
Yeah.
there were times where he was almost bankrupt, then he hit bankruptcy, then he, got himself out of it a little. Then he went, or at least according to the movie. I didn't read the book, but there were so many times where he basically completely. I mean, most people would have given up. There's no way they would have.
This
thought.
is why I hate. This is why I wanted to talk to you about this in depth, because I hate when people like put that man down. It drives me crazy. It's like it's not like he started out like this billionaire, like I'm gonna make a park and then I'm gonna make Mickey Mouse, and it's like he started from fucking nothing, zero, with like a dream, and like it's that thing. It's like when you think about that thing, he invented that thing, like starting out with nothing and bringing it into the world, like and all he wanted to do was make everyone happy, and like everyone talks about this.
The other thing that he also wanted to do was make quality versus quantity.
Absolutely.
He would get a budget of $1,500 to make a short, animation, and he'd
Right.
spend $1,900.
Right.
Like,
Right.
because he wanted it to be the best it could be. So he was the type of person that not only did he never give up, but he also would spend more than he had to make sure that what he was putting forward was the best. He wanted to do the park because when he was a kid, they had this dirty, dusty, like, park that was near one of the places that they lived. It was he saw the World's Fair, obviously in Chicago, where his mom and dad like built houses to make $1 a day and all that stuff. But there was this one park that was, I can't remember which place it was near. If it was near, like, he went there and he never had enough money to actually go in. And so he would stand out there with his brothers and his friends, and he would dream of one day having his own amusement park and it was all just on dirt. So he's like, it's going to be clean and it's going to be like, he had this dream from when he was just a little kid.
Yep.
So it was always his dream, and he would even do stuff during Disneyland, like Roy would go out of town and he would like spend like the extra $10,000 or $20,000 on like the inlays that go around the castle.
Yep.
That Roy said no, you can't do that, and Roy would go out of town and be like, yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
Let's do that.
And he would spend the more money just for the intricate details that no one will ever notice.
He hated the money part. He hated
Right.
the money part. That's why Roy did everything.
That's
on
why he
that
brought
side,
him in to do
because he was
business,
like,
yeah.
I just want this. I just want this. I want this to be this, and that's all there is to it. And Roy would go, you can't have it.
You
He's
can't
like,
have it.
We're doing it.
We're doing
We're
it.
doing it. We're doing it. And he also like had this great vision of like storytelling, where like people didn't really understand like what he was doing when they first did Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. He started naming them off like Happy and Doc and then he got to Dopey, and everyone was like, oh, you can't, no way, dude, you can't call him Dopey. And he was like, what are you talking about? And they were like, well, that's like a reference to like drugs. And he was like, oh my god, like I'm not thinking like that. I don't think like that. Like that's not what I do. Like he wasn't even like going there. So he's just like a dopey little character. He's like stupid and kind of dumb and falling all over himself.
So are the people that are on drugs.
Right, right. But like that's not where he was going. So like
Yeah.
everyone thinks that he like had these weird things, but he didn't, and it was just like it's just super innocent. And
But
like,
I think that's a good, like, a lot of times people put things into that somebody means something they don't. Like, people will be like, oh, you're being racist when you, like, you're just saying
like his
something.
whole anti-Semitic thing. We can go into that, but that's bullshit.
But,
I hate
but I'm
that.
just saying, like, people in general sometimes do that to not just to him, but to other people, and it's really a shame because a lot of times people don't mean that. They aren't trying to be insulting. They aren't trying to like make everybody feel uncomfortable. I've definitely said some things where like I didn't mean it that way, and people.
But especially if everybody tries to put you in a frame just to prove a point so they can get one up on something. Because that's all we have right now is, ooh, I got you today. But like Disney found that you could take existing stories. Because Snow White was not a happy original
Well, he
story.
always
None of
twisted.
them
That
were.
was his whole
they're all
thing.
kind of
None of
like,
them
it's a
were.
little kind of dark
No,
and...
well,
He still did that even
No,
after he
no,
died.
no,
Like,
there's a
Little
reason
Mermaid
for
isn't
that.
a
The
great story.
original Aesop's Fate, all of them were terrible. Like,
but
stories.
I want to see those movies done.
Peter Pan.
That's what I
all
always
the
wanted
kids
to
are
watch.
actually dead. Like,
Yes, I want to see those movies, not the inspiring.
Well, we're in the dark age for that because everything seems to have a dark tinge
let's
to it
just
these
do
days.
it.
No, but his whole thing, even from like the Laugh-O-Grams days, was to take a quintessential story and then give it a twist.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the Riding Hood that he did with Laughograms, the Big Bad Wolf was just a guy driving a convertible.
Right.
You know, he would just kind of like change it up, a little bit, just give it a twist, but then everything kind of went a little dark with Disney after the whole thing happened with his parents. You know, like he brought his parents out, like bought him that house, and then the gas leak, and then if that's what you notice, every Disney film from that point forward, the parents or one of the parents dies in the beginning.
Yeah. So I have a question for you, because one of my all-time favorite films is a Disney film, and it is one that even hardcore Disney fans never seem to know. It was by far one of the best films I've ever seen. It was not a cartoon; it was a live action.
The Rookie with Dennis Quaid?
No.
Oh,
Herbie
sorry.
Lovebug?
It was the last film that was ever made while Disney was still alive. And actually,
The Jungle Book.
No. He died.
She said not animated.
Oh, not animated.
He
That was the last
died.
one.
He died in between when it got finished and when it actually came out. So some people say that's the reason it failed. It was a musical, and the same people that did the music for Mary Poppins did it. It starred Fred MacMurray,
Song of the South.
Shaggy Dog.
Leslie Ann Warren,
The Shaggy D.
Shaggy D.
Leslie Ann Warren.
and John Davidson.
And it's
From
called...
That's Incredible?
Bedknobs and Broomsticks?
Nope.
No, what is
You
it?
guys give up? You give up?
Wait,
You don't
another
know?
clue. Another clue.
There's an alligator in it, and they sing about being Irish, and
Oh.
Fred MacMurray.
Yeah, Fred
Leslie Ann
MacMurray.
Warren.
Oh, damn it.
Not damn it.
it's actually based on a true story. Even the person that Fred MacMurray plays was a real person.
People are listening right now going,
Just say it.
Gary, you're an idiot. It's...
Not or damn it.
That's right. No, it's damn it.
If you want to find out the title to Lani's mystery Disney movie, tune in next time to part 2 with Thomas Ian Nicholas on Squadcast.